There are moments in life when the heaviness doesn't make sense. You wake up exhausted, not from lack of sleep, but from something deeper, something older. You make choices with care. You try to grow. You try to heal. And yet the same lessons return in new disguises. It's as if you've been repaying a debt you don't remember owing. Each step feels like you're dragging something unresolved behind you. Carl Jung described the unconscious as more than just your personal hidden thoughts. It's a vast tapestry woven with the stories, fears, and wounds passed down through generations. Karma, in this sense, isn't some cosmic tally of good versus bad. It's the weight of what's still unhealed, unacknowledged, or unresolved. But what if you've done the work? What if the cycles are breaking and a new lightness is settling in? In this video, we're diving into 4 clear signs that your karmic debt has been cleared, not just in your mind, but in your body, your relationships, and your soul. If you've been noticing a quiet calm or shifts in your life that feel almost inexplicable, you might already be stepping into freedom. Karma isn't a celestial scoreboard keeping track of your wins and losses. Through a Jungian perspective, it's more like a memory, emotional, psychological, even ancestral, that lingers until it's faced and brought into the light. Jung taught that our psyches aren't blank at birth. Beyond physical traits, we inherit fears, drives, and unresolved energies from our families, cultures, and the collective past. These are your karmic imprints, the echoes of what hasn't been healed. They don't just sit in your mind. They shape who you're drawn to, what you dream about, and even the pain you carry. Jung called the soul's journey individuation, becoming whole by embracing every part of yourself, especially the parts you pushed away. Karmic loops keep you circling the same emotional or spiritual ground until the lesson isn't just learned, but lived. When you face these patterns head-on without dodging or judging them, they start to unravel, and something incredible happens. You're no longer tethered to the past. So how do you know when that shift has happened? When the cycle is broken and your soul feels lighter? Let's dive into the first 2 signs that your karmic debt is clearing and you're stepping into a new chapter of renewal. Sign number 1, you stop repeating the same emotional patterns. For so long, it felt like you were stuck in a loop, attracting the same kinds of people or pain, just with different faces. Maybe it was abandonment, betrayal, or even self-sabotage. Those familiar aches kept showing up, no matter how hard you tried to break free. You'd change your surroundings, your job, your relationships, but the same emotional story would creep back in. Then something shifts. It's subtle at first, but it's real. You start catching the warning signs earlier, not just in your head, but in your gut. Your body picks up on the unease before things spiral. You pause, and instead of diving into old habits, you choose differently. It's not forced, it's natural. The old you, the one who kept falling into those patterns, isn't running the show anymore. Jung said, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. That's what karma is. Your unconscious patterns playing out until you see them clearly. When you bring those hidden pieces into the light, their grip on you fades. You don't just walk away from toxic situations because you should. You do it because you know. There's a quiet power in this shift. You might feel a pang of sadness, not for the pain itself, but for how long it held you. Yet there's also relief. You find yourself letting go of grudges you thought you'd carry forever. Not because you're excusing what happened, but because you're done letting it define you. The past becomes something you've moved through, not something you're still living. This is the first sign your karmic debt is clearing. The patterns that once pulled you in don't resonate anymore. The old story isn't your story now. It's just a chapter you've closed, not because you forced it, but because you've grown into someone new. You're not proving you've learned the lesson, you're living it. Sign number 2, you feel a deep peace that doesn't depend on your circumstances. Once those emotional loops start to dissolve, something unexpected settles in. It's not loud or flashy. It's quiet, like a weight you didn't know you were carrying finally lifting. You're sitting there, maybe with a coffee, watching the world go by, and you realize you're not anxious. You're not bracing for the next crisis. You're just here. This peace isn't because everything in your life is suddenly perfect. It's not. Bills still come, challenges still arise, but your relationship with life has changed. Jung believed the soul doesn't need perfection. It needs wholeness. Wholeness means nothing is being pushed away, not your fears, your doubts, or your joys. When karmic debt is still at play, your mind is restless, caught in a tug of war between guilt and defensiveness, always on edge. But when those cycles complete, when the lessons are truly integrated, your soul starts to settle. It's like a stormy lake finally calming, the water turning clear. This peace doesn't mean you stop feeling. Sadness, frustration, they're still there, but they don't define you. You don't see hard times as punishment or proof you failed. You just meet life as it comes, without needing to fight it or explain it away. This shift is profound because it's not something you have to perform. You're not trying to seem okay to others. You just are. There's a quiet trust growing inside you, a sense that no matter what happens, you'll be whole. You're no longer circling an old wound. Your center feels clear, steady. This stillness, this unshakable calm beneath life's noise, is the second sign your karmic debt is cleared. It's your soul finally breathing free. Sign number 3, you start receiving without struggle. Once that deep inner peace takes root, the kind that doesn't hinge on everything going your way, you'll notice life starts meeting you differently. For so long, it might have felt like everything was a fight, love, success, even your own sense of worth. You were always proving yourself, overgiving, or chasing what felt just out of reach. But now something's shifting. Things begin to flow more easily. Not because you've stopped working hard, but because you're no longer fighting an invisible current. Opportunities that once seemed blocked start to open up. Relationships show up without you having to bend over backward to earn them. The world hasn't changed. You have. Carl Jung saw the unconscious as more than just a storage space for personal memories. It shapes how you experience the world around you. When unresolved karma lingers, it's like a filter clouding your sense of what's possible. Guilt, shame, or old ancestral wounds can make you feel like you don't deserve the good stuff, so you unconsciously push it away. But when those karmic patterns start to dissolve, when you've truly integrated the lessons, your energy shifts. You stop attracting situations that mirror old pain. More importantly, you stop choosing them. This isn't about wishing for miracles. You still put in the effort, you still show up. But the struggle isn't the story anymore. You don't feel the need to overgive to be loved. You don't chase what doesn't value you. And slowly, without even realizing it at first, you start to receive. Love, opportunities, moments of joy, they come and you don't question them. You don't brace for them to disappear. You just let them be with a quiet gratitude that feels new. This is the third sign your karmic debt is clearing. Life starts to mirror the transformation inside you. Grace finds you, not as a reward for all your suffering, but as a natural flow from a soul that's no longer weighed down. You allow goodness in because deep down, you finally believe you're worthy of it. Not because you fought for it, but because you've become someone who knows it's safe to receive. Sign number 4, you feel pulled toward purpose, not survival. When the struggle softens, when life starts to feel less like a constant battle, a new kind of energy emerges. It's not about fixing what's broken or guarding against the next hit. That frantic need to survive starts to fade, and in its place, you feel a gentle pull towards something bigger. It's like a quiet voice inside asking, what am I really here to do? At first, it's subtle. Maybe you feel drawn to create something new, a project, a passion, or even a way to help others who are walking the path you once did. Your focus shifts from healing your own wounds to wondering how your journey can light the way for someone else. Jung said, The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. That privilege kicks in when your soul is no longer tangled in old karmic loops, when your choices aren't driven by fear or lack, but by what feels true. When karma's still at play, life feels reactive. You're always defending, proving, or dodging something. But once that weight lifts, there's space for something new. Purpose starts to take shape, not as a high-pressure quest to find your calling, but as a natural invitation. You feel drawn toward meaning, not out of scarcity, but from possibility. You're not chasing roles or labels to feel enough anymore. You're stepping into who you are. You speak your truth more easily. Your choices align with what matters to you. When you think about the future, it's not about what you need to avoid. It's about what you want to create. What mark do you want to leave? What story do you want to live? This is the fourth sign. Purpose becomes your guide, not fear. Life turns into less about surviving the next storm and more about building something real, sharing what you've learned, and expressing who you are. The karmic fog clears, and in its place is a quiet clarity, a spark that doesn't need to prove anything. You know you're enough, and that knowing frees you to live with intention, to create, to give back. And now take a breath, because this isn't just something to understand, it's something to feel. Transformation doesn't end with insight. It asks to be embodied. You've come far. You've released weight that wasn't truly yours. So before you move forward, let yourself pause. Let yourself feel what freedom really feels like. Close your eyes. Place your hand over your heart. Feel into that part of you that has lived lifetimes through pain, love, regret, and resilience. Feel the echoes of choices made and lessons learned. The weight you carried without even knowing why. Now ask yourself, what karmic pattern have I released? What part of me feels light, open, unburdened in a way it never has before? What new story is waiting to unfold from this clean slate? Tonight, if you feel called, light a candle, not in grief, but in reverence. Let it be a quiet ceremony, a soft recognition that something has ended, that old cycles have completed, that you owe no more, you are free. And now in this open space within you, ask yourself, what would it mean to live from soul, not survival? What would it look like to choose from clarity, not karma? Karma is not a punishment. It is a mirror, one that reflects everything you've yet to integrate. But when you've met your patterns with honesty and grace, when you've chosen differently, even when it hurt, the mirror dissolves and what remains is you shining through. If life feels lighter, if your heart feels calmer, if the same old pain no longer pulls you back, it's not just growth, it's liberation. You've ended something ancient. And what's ahead isn't payback, it's purpose. So walk forward, not as someone escaping the past, but as someone finally becoming who they were always meant to be. This is Echoes of Psyche, where we don't just heal, we remember.